Hey guys, what is up? This is Nishi from MST.TV here, and this is another episode of Market Watch. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh is in a really good spot right now. I feel like a lot of different decks can top and do well. Like, I know that there's Orchist and Salamangrate and then Thunder Dragons as like those tier 1 decks, but I feel like there's also a lot of different tier 2 or rogue strategies that can top or do well. Right, like we have Altergeist, Subterrors, and Sky Strikers, but then we also see tops from decks like Satellar Knights or Marincess, and like so many other different archetypes, which I think is really healthy for the game. However, because we see so many different decks see success, we're also going to see constant changes in the market. Like, as soon as there's this possibility of like a deck being good kind of out of nowhere, or people talking about some new tech card that's going to be really hot, people kind of freak out and they try to grab cards as quickly as possible, which in the short term causes market prices to fluctuate. It is important to remember that a lot of the time these prices are hype and that these prices are almost always going to settle back down after. However, we should still be aware of what these price fluctuations are, as they do present opportunities to flip cards that we're holding onto or are able to get for extremely cheap in the short term. So guys, the winner of our last totally awesome giveaway will be pinned in the comment section down below. And as for today's episode and today's giveaway, we are actually going to be giving away 2 different cards for Halloween. So the first one is an ultimate rare unlimited copy of Ghostrick Alucard, a card that I personally really like. And the other one is an ultimate rare French Plague Spreader Zombie. This one isn't near mint or anything. It's actually like played or damaged, whatever you want to call it. But it does still look really good in the sleeve. Something really cool if you want to like add and keep it in your collection with like other zombie cards or something maybe. So guys, as usual, if you want to be entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is like this video, be subscribed to MST.TV, and leave a comment down below. In this one, guys, specifically, I want you all to work and make me laugh. If you guys don't know, I really like puns, so bonus points if you guys put a pun in there. And also, if it's Halloween related, you guys get bonus points as well. I will be picking the 2 comments that make me laugh the most, and I'll be announcing the winner in a later video. So yeah, let's get into the Market Watch. Okay guys, so first up, let's talk about 6 Samurais. So in the Chaos Impact Special Editions, Konami is doing something pretty cool and bringing us imports from the OCG. I think that this is amazing because, like, without the ability to pull the prismatic secret rares from unlimited packs, I feel like there was a lot less incentive to buy the special editions, so hopefully this is going to turn things around. Anyways, so one of the promos for Chaos Impact is Great General of the 6 Samurai. This is the Link monster that lets you search for Gateway, which is like, I think, the most broken card in the 6 Samurai deck. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh! Now is a lot different than it was back in the day, but I do think that the release of this card makes Samurais like a better deck, probably like an okay rogue strategy, to be honest. Anyways, as a result of this card being announced, we actually saw the ultimate rare version of Legendary 6 Samurai Shien bought out. Right now we are currently looking at $40 for an unlimited copy and $60 for the first ed. Shien was actually one of like the go-to extra deck monsters for 6 Samurais, providing inherent protection for itself and the ability to negate a spell or trap card once per turn. Probably still is like a go-to monster that you're going to want to make. The other cards I want to note here are Secret 6 Samurais Fuma and Kazaru, which are 2 secret rares that were introduced in Spirit Warriors and haven't been reprinted since. Now that set is like 2 years old now, and these cards were actually pretty hard to pull. So if you want to play 6 Samurais, I'm leaning towards saying that I think you should get your copies now, because I don't really know when we're going to get a reprint for these cards, and we don't have any really big reprint sets coming up. However, because it has been a while, it wouldn't surprise me to see these cards included in like an OTS pack as commons or supers or something. However, you know, that's kind of like a toss-up. With the Synchro Shien though, I personally would definitely be selling my copies, as I do believe that the prices are going to settle back down fairly quickly. The other promo that we're getting in the Chaos Impact Special Edition is Scrap Wyvern. So this card is actually like really good. It lets you revive a scrap, then blow one up, and then summon one from your deck, and then blow another one up. So yeah, this card is really good support for the archetype, although the deck probably still isn't very strong. That's okay, I know there's a lot of people that probably played Scraps way back in the day, so seeing this card is probably pretty nostalgic for them. Anyways, this one hasn't caused too much movement on the market in terms of price. Like Scrap Golem, I guess, is the most notable one. It's a rare from Duelist Revolution that hasn't actually seen a reprint before. It is a level 5 that lets you pull a scrap out of the graveyard. I don't think this card was actually played before, but now that Scrap Wyvern can summon it out from the deck, this card was actually like bought out. We saw this card hit like $10 to $15 a couple days ago, but people have kind of come to their senses and like they're listing all their copies, and it's now down to only being like a few dollars. The other card to mention here is Scrap Twin Dragon, which is a card from Starstrike Blast that of course has never been reprinted. And like, I think the card is okay, but I don't actually think scraps are really going to be using it. It probably just got bought out more because it's like a Starstrike Blast Ultimate Rare and there are so few quantities available on the market. But yeah, this card is like $15 for an Ultimate Rare copy. So yeah, definitely a couple of cards that I'd probably want to dig out of your bulk stuff, or like some cards that you have lying around, and move them now while you have the chance to, while there's like a reason for people to want to pick those cards up. Next up, we have Surzeal, Watcher of the Evil Eye. So this card has really gradually climbed up in price over the last little while. I actually believe we saw this card bottom out at around $10 to $12, and then a month ago it was like $15, and now it's at like $20, which I guess is kind of cool. This is one of the harder cards to pull from Infinity Chasers, a set that I don't think was very widely opened because the archetypes, Evil Eye, Witchcrafters, and Infinitrack weren't particularly good. However, we did just get more Evil Eye support in Chaos Impact, so there's probably some people who are looking to put that deck together. Also, I've heard a couple of people talking about Evil Eye Unchained possibly being a variant of the Unchained deck, so that might be part of the reason that this card has been increasing in price as well. Now, I don't think that it's going to be good by any means. All indications for me are pointing towards Unchained being really, really bad, despite having so many secret rares in Chaos Impact. However, with all of the potential demand for Surzeal, as people want to try out and build these decks, the price of Surzeal naturally had to go up. However, this card is definitely a sell for me, as I'm expecting the price to drop back down as people realize that the decks just aren't particularly viable. So next, let's look at Into the Void. So the version we're going to be talking about is actually going to be the reprint from the original Battles of Legends set, which came out like more than 2 years ago or so. This card was only $1 or $2 before. We're actually seeing the card bought out and reaching $9 to $10 at the moment, which seems kind of crazy because I feel like they were pulled a lot back then when everyone was opening the set. However, 2 years is a fair while to go without a reprint. Now, from what I've seen, the card is used in Pendulum decks and functions very similarly to Upstart Goblin. So with Upstart, this allows you to essentially cut your deck down to like 36 cards, which lets you draw into your important combo pieces more quickly. It also puts spell counters on Servant of Endymion, which lets you get Jackal King out more quickly so that you can't be hit by Nibiru. I mean, Pendulum decks overall are pretty inexpensive, as almost everything from that deck has seen multiple reprints. However, until this card gets reprinted, I'm expecting this to be the expensive piece to finish building that deck, and I'm expecting its price to stay steady, not quite at like the full $10, but anywhere from that $5 to $10 range. Alright, next up we have Satellar Knights. So who would have thought that I'd be talking about Satellar Knights in 2019? Like, what year is this? Anyways, Satellar Knights actually took 9th place at a regionals in Michigan. I believe that was like last weekend. Which is kind of cool because I don't think I've heard about this deck doing anything in like a really long time. The deck just kind of got phased out by the meta. The deck wasn't that strong. I don't actually think even anything is directly from the archetype hit on the ban list. But yeah, since we saw the deck top once, naturally people decided to try and pick up some key cards from the archetype. Not even top, it was like a 9th place, but whatever. So Ultimate Rare Trevere was the big target here, whereas before I remember being able to pick them up for like $5 to $7 a copy just like a month or so ago. We're now looking at $16 for an Ultimate Rare Unlimited copy, and then $24 for the first edition copies. And then in terms of like other smaller cards, I mean, Deneb was previously only like a $2 to $3 card. You're now looking at $4 for a single copy. And then super rare copies of Altair, which were previously like less than $1, are currently like between $2 to $3. So not like huge price jumps or anything, right? But still, you guys should be aware that maybe you should like take them out of your dollar binders or something. Or if you have them lying around, now might be the time to move them, because like they were harder to move before because no one was really looking for them. But now that they've done somewhat well at an event and there are gonna be people who want to buy it, now's the time to take them out and try to get those cards moved. I don't think we're gonna see Satellar Knights do too much moving forward. I think that the success of the deck is more due to like a bit of luck, admittedly, but that's like with all card games, as well as just how strong a lot of back row can be. So I would expect the prices of all the Satellar Knights cards to ultimately settle back down as more and more people are going to list their copies back onto the market. Okay, so next we have Lucent, Netherlord of Dark World. So this is a 2400 attack point, level 6 fiend monster from Primal Origin that has never been reprinted. So Danger Dark World is a deck that is currently doing quite well in the OCG, actually. Like, it's a top 3 or 4 deck over there, as it is able to combo off and make Azathoth in order to avoid being hit by Nibiru. This card, however, Lucent, isn't played in the OCG, but what I think the idea is that if you've already maxed out on Beige being the level 4 monster that summons itself when it's discarded, the next one that you would play is Lucent, because it has 100 more attack points than Gold or Silva, so it is technically the most useful. I don't know if the deck's build is going to differ by very much if it comes over here. Like, I don't know if you would need to play that extra body, or if the deck is even going to be viable here at all, right? Like, we haven't really seen much from Danger Dark World since Firewall Dragon was banned. But yeah, for whatever reason, this card is hitting an absurd $22. Like, honestly, that is way too much for me to pay for a card that isn't really that great and probably isn't going to be played here. So yeah, as much as I love Dark Worlds, this isn't something that I would be holding on to at all. Next, we have Mooling Glacier, the Elemental Lord. So I feel like we kind of should have seen this coming. I feel like cards that rip cards from your opponent's hand and can be dropped turn 1 always have the potential to be abused, and I think that's kind of like what the ideal was here. So from what I've been told, Marincess can potentially use Mooling Glacier, as they're able to manipulate the number of water monsters in their graveyard fairly easily. Also, having your opponent potentially start the game with 4 cards instead of 6 sounds pretty good. I know that it's not like Gumblar Dragon or anything, but yeah, this buyout has actually settled down now. I think it happened like a little while ago. We were looking at around $10 to $15 for a secret first ed copy of Mooling Glacier before, but you can actually grab them now for like $5 or so. Also, I believe that they were reprinted in a special edition as a super rare, so you can get your copies for literally like 25 cents or something. But yeah, I don't think that Marincess is actually able to get to this card very consistently, so I feel like a lot of the time it's going to be a pretty dead card in the deck, and they aren't actually going to end up playing it. If this is something that you guys are holding onto and you're able to move it for that slightly inflated market price, like anywhere above $7 or $8, I would definitely try to get rid of it. However, if you are able to pick it up for basically like anywhere under $5, this is actually a card that I'm holding on to a lot of copies of, because I think there's a lot of potential for it to be abused in some sort of future deck, in a water deck that wants to go first and rip cards from your opponent's hand. And finally, guys, we have Card of Demise. So this one should have been pretty easy to see coming, right? Like, I remember a time when people were talking about how this card should be like limited or banned. It's honestly just that strong, allowing you to dig 3 cards deeper into your deck. It is fairly restrictive, right? Like, it's certainly not something that you can splash in just everything. However, I feel like it's a lot like Pot of Extravagance. Like, with Extravagance, if you're playing a deck that doesn't need its extra deck and doesn't play a lot of like draw cards, it's just like a ridiculously good card, right? It's like a free draw too. And with Card of Demise, if you're playing something that doesn't need to special summon and you're playing a lot of back row where you can set everything and don't need to worry about like discarding your hand, this card is functionally just like a draw 3. So there's a lot of potential for the card to be abused, and we probably should have seen this card's price spike incoming. Shoutouts to John from House of Chance. I actually believe that he was talking about this card like a couple of months ago. But yeah, we are actually gradually seeing all versions of this card being bought out across the board on TCG Player. We're currently seeing a minimum price of like $8 to $10 for a single copy of this card, which is double what we were looking at like a couple months ago when you could pick up dual power copies for only like $3 to $4. One thing that is worth noting though is at the time I'm making this video, you can grab dual power copies of Card of Demise for about $7 a piece. So if you are looking to pick up this card, that's somewhere that I would check out. This is definitely a card that you're going to want to grab sooner rather than later, as something that I think has a lot of potential to spike in value moving forward. Alright guys, that is it for me from today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys have a very safe, very candy-filled Halloween. Please guys, if you enjoyed the video and you guys want to be entered in today's giveaway, please make sure that you slam that thumbs up button and subscribe to MST.TV as well, and make sure you leave that comment down below. Make me laugh, guys. And yeah, until next time, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.